Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to what should be yet another masterclass in coaching. Here as the season 23 edition of the SFL playoffs quarterfinals rolls on between Arizona and Florida. Good evening, folks. It should be a good one. Both of these two teams, when playing as Florida and playing as Arizona, have only been separated each game by less than 2 possessions. So we should be in for a wild ride here tonight. I'm joined alongside in the broadcast booth by my longtime partner, Brett Solberg. Brett, this one should live up to the billing.
You know, Tyler, I think we've been left with the main event here with the quarterfinals. You have two monstrous, historic squads facing off one more time in the playoffs. This is what stories and dreams are made of. You want to have these matchups like you see here, have these iconic ESPN-esque moments like this between the powerhouse squads of Arizona and Florida. It's just another chapter in this illustrious story with these two teams. I can't wait for kickoff.
This will be the third meeting in a playoff fixture between these two clubs, and both of those games ended with last-minute scores. What does Game 3 bring between the Scorpions and Storm? As here we go. The opening kickoff is taken all the way back to the 20-yard line by Donnie Hands. And we'll see the Scorpion quarterback, Ashley Jackson, lead her troops out onto the battlefield for their first possession here in Fort Lauderdale here tonight. It was a stomping of the Atlanta Swarm of the wild card round, led by a very methodical rushing attack by DJ Moses, who dots the offside eye and gets the first carry of the ball game, bounces off a wimpy tackler, and Brad Jones slots in for DJ Moses, my apologies, and picks up 6 yards to begin the game.
And you have to think this is going to be a definite focus when it comes to Florida's defense. Brad Jones coming off of 27 carries, 188 yards, and 2 touchdowns against Atlanta. He wants a repeat performance tonight.
They're offset eye to the run. This time it is DJ Moses picking up a couple more yards before being brought down by Daniel Wright. And I'll bring us up to third down as we introduce you quickly to the rest of the Scorpion offense. We mentioned the tailbacks, Jones and Moses. Bismarck Wright's the fullback. Donnie Hands, Yayo Montana, Hank Earl, and TJ Punk are the wideouts, with Adam Gabrowski and Will Todd at tight end. And we'll get to the line here in a second as Jackson fires over the middle. No! Incomplete. It bounces off the hands of Montana. Good coverage from Evan Carroll, and it's a quick 3-and-out forced by this Florida defense.
Yeah, and you knew that Arizona's going to have to pass eventually, and you're facing the number 3 passing defense in the league, just 178 yards passing against from this Florida secondary. They know how to defend the football.
Back to punt is Bennett, who will try and angle this one toward the near side numbers. And on the return, a slow little bit of return there from Bobby Tarantino. Couldn't get going right away, but does manage to get all the way up to the 37-yard line. And out trots Ron Cochran, who this past season had one of his best seasons in this new era of the SFL. He led the league in completions with 224, had the league-leading 67.1 completion percentage, and a league-high QBR of 90.5. Handoff up the right-hand side. We saw this in Week 15, a handoff to Art Vandelay for a gain of 8 yards to the right-hand side.
And it's going to be interesting who you see in the backfield in certain formations with Florida, because they have a bevy of different players that they can insert in that backfield. You saw Art Vandelay on that first play. We can't forget about the Bullet Boletsky. But what we've seen over the last second half of the season has been the surgence of carries for Chris Komisak, the fullback.
And it's been less carries for the former league MVP, Charlie Boletsky, who dots the I, gets the call here, and sneaks his way forward for a Florida first down. He has been more involved in the swing pass and screenplay lately this season, and it's worked to great effect for the Storm.
Yeah, 54 receptions. You know, you get those opportunities with Charlie the Bullet Boletsky and trying to get that, you know, more involved, and now we see a different halfback in this play.
Cochran looking right side. Picked off the knees of Ernest McCray Sr., who took a pick six back in the Monday Night Spectacular game in Week 11, hauls in another pick against Ron Cochran here.
And this was one of the fears that I was going to have with Ron Cochran. He had a week of break. He wasn't slinging the rock as much as he has been over the last couple weeks as well. His first throw wildly overthrows it, and it's just a breadbasket interception for Ernest McCray Sr., his fourth of the campaign. Arizona's got the football.
3 wide receivers here from Arizona Scorpion offense as Jackson tucks it and runs and tries to slide and holds onto the football for a gain of 8. Her offensive linemen for the Arizona Scorpions are Charles Michael, Tita Begin, Patrick Kelly, Gene Benazzi, and Igor Barbatov. Now let's introduce you to the Storm defense. Deontay Stoneville, Anderson Tamaello, Pete Mitchell, and Dallas Knowles, the defensive linemen. We'll touch on the rest of them here in a second. Handoff, Brad Jones. Right side, first down, a gain of about 3.5. It's Jesus Smith, 1, Mississippi, and Ryan Tobin at linebacker. Ryan Davidson, Evan Carroll, Adam Jones are the corners with Andrew Francis, J.J. Bailey, and Daniel Wright at safety. That is your Florida Storm rest of the defensive starters. Under 7 minutes and 15 seconds to go now. Here in the first frame of regulation pitch, left side, Jones struggles to get going. He will lose a yard on the play.
It was good work from Juan, Mississippi to pursue the toss play right away. Didn't get the tackle, but it gave enough time for Tobin to come in and get the TFL.
Linebacker blitz, quick hitter middle, one-handed snag. Good for a good couple yards for TJ Punk, third down.
Yeah, and it's really been a two-man show when it comes to the receiving game from Arizona. You're going to see targets either thrown to Montana or to TJ Punk, and right now they're splitting the load right now for the share.
Jackson looking to throw, it's tipped, incomplete, good hands from Jesus Smith to knock it aside, and Arizona will not come away with points after the turnover.
And this is what Eddie Gage has been trying to do all season. Try to get Will Todd involved in the offense, and it just hasn't worked for them this season. Just 20 receptions to his name, and a tip pass goes awry again.
Punt is away. Second punt of the game for Bennett. This one angling to the far sideline. It takes a wild skip, rolls and barely goes over the end line, down for a touchback, and Florida will get the ball at their own 20.
Man, that was really, really close. Good, too. Excellent punt work from Bennett. I was hoping that it would kind of cut to the inside to the outside instead of the inside, but just, a favorable Florida bounce, and it just trickles right through. Now Florida only has to worry about 80 yards.
Run to the right side, Beletsky gains 4 as the beginning part of this game seems to favor more of a traditional running game for Bullet.
Yeah, and right now you want to get that run game involved. Florida really likes to get that, that power run offense going. They've been, really balanced as a squad, but in the playoffs, more run they want.
Here is Komisak to the near sideline. Gains a few more yards to make third down a little bit easier to deal with.
Yeah, I still think with Komisak coming to Florida from Queen City has been one of the most, intelligent signings that Florida's ever made, because Komisak is a beast.
Who do they trust here on third down? Cochran will trust in his arm, looking over the middle. It is incomplete. Looking for his reliable tight end, Ron Haynes, but he could not haul it in double coverage, and Florida will punt.
And what Florida did a lot to end the season was give a lot of touches to Ron Haynes. I believe he had something around half of his season receptions come in the last 3 weeks of the season. So Arizona definitely has to key in on Ron Haynes, which they did well on that play.
And so Marcus Agrippa will punt this one away. And here comes a return here from Hands, trying to find a way through the mass of people, and cannot as he gets up to the 39-yard line and no further. Brett, these two teams do not typically score a whole lot when they meet up with each other in the first half, roughly scoring a combined total of 10 points on average between the two squads in their last few meetings.
They always like to have that feeling out process because you're talking about two head coaches that know each other so well and talk to each other on a weekly basis that it's kind of hard to predict what they're going to do. So they have to come in with unpredictable playbooks. So it's always a feeling out process.
Jackson into coverage, incomplete. Excellent step-for-step coverage by Evan Carroll.
Yeah, and that's what the secondary does in Florida, is that they just stay on their assignments, and they do really well. And you see guys like Ryan Davidson, Evan Carroll had the deflection there. Adam Jones has been a quiet but effective player this season as well. Watch for those corners.
Run to the right side here for Moses as he pushes through two defenders to get a hard-earned first down, the first of the ball game for the Scorpions.
If there's two players that I'll trust in the run game against a tough run defense, it would be Brad Jones and DJ Moses. Moses shows his strength in that run alone, trying to push through one tackle. When a second one comes through, he still pushes forward.
Make that the first one of the drive, second of the ball game. There have not been very many of these first downs to go around as Brad Jones picks up 3 yards. He's brought down by Jesus Smith.
And you can tell that Jones was looking to cut more to the outside because there was wide open space for him to run, maybe get 15 yards at minimum, but just couldn't get that cut outside.
Offset eye now here behind Ashley Jackson. Now in a weak eye set as the tight end, Will Todd, goes in motion to the left-hand side. Running room for Moses along the right side. Gains 5 yards in total. Now up comes a crucial third down for Arizona.
But this one's a third and very manageable for a team who's done really good on third down conversions. We're talking second in the league, 58.82% on third downs. They're going to need that efficiency here tonight.
A draw with a run on third down. Jones through the middle, first down, as the defense couldn't get home in time.
And they're going to go with that run game that worked really well for them and only had Jackson throwing 16 times in the game against Atlanta. So they're going to try to, replicate what worked for them in their wild card game into this quarterfinal matchup.
Going to try and wear down this very tough Florida defense, and they're just going to take an effort like that to get in the backfield. Second tackle behind the line for this defense, and this time it's the free safety Daniel Wright leading the charge.
It might have been Wright who got the tackle, but look who went past the line once again the first time. Juan Mississippi. He's done that twice already in this game. He's starting to become a menace on the offensive line.
Two wide receivers left for Ashley Jackson. She's back to throw, looking for a screen for Moses. He spins upfield, gains a few extra yards, and gains 11 in total.
Man, that one was a tough catch and run as well because the screens weren't perfectly placed for Moses, but he still found a way on the sidelines to stay and tippy-toe through and make it once again a third and manageable.
Cliche is the playbook is wide open here in these third and short situations. What does Eddie Gage dial up? He dials up a run for Brad Jones. Gains about 5 yards and another Scorpion first down.
You go to any video game, you look up that formation, you always see halfback dive. And Eddie Gage loves his dive plays on short down situations, and we see it here. Easy first down for the Scorps.
Two tight ends left here for Jackson. A lot of DBs here tonight for Florida. Blitz coming as Moses gets the call. Gains 5. Nothing that Smith could do about the hard-charging running back that time.
They're loving these runs so far. That's the 7th run play out of 9 on this drive. And, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's moving them down the field.
Offset eye looks to be like another running formation here for Arizona, as Florida stack the box with 8 defenders. Run up the middle for Jones, and they do close up the holes pretty well. Jones is able to great together 3 yards, and it's again another 3rd and short.
Yeah, and this is what they kind of want to go to this route. They're tiring this defense by just running them up the gut and just forcing that defensive line to really push.
Stretch play here for Moses, bouncing off a tackler, but finally brought down. Another first down as they move deeper inside the red zone.
And now they're definitely in comfortable scoring range, definitely for Cliff Allen, who's been automatic this season, it feels like. They're definitely within the grounds of, even trying a play, go right to the end zone if they want to with these 2 receivers here.
Another run here for Jones as he picks up 4 yards. Another thing that this running game is doing here, Brett, is making the defense commit to the run, which should hopefully open up the passing game if and when Arizona need it.
And it all depends on how this game unfolds as well. You got to think about Florida's drives too. If they score back with them, it's going to force Arizona into a throwing situation eventually, which might favor them with this drive.
The run near side. Moses spinning, and he will trot into the end zone. Touchdown, Arizona. It's the running game that runs them down the field for the first touchdown of the game.
How ironic. It's DJ Moses, the Scorpion, that uses a spin cycle like the Storm in Florida inside the eye to get himself freeing space to get the touchdown and first blood on the road. This is what Arizona needed to do. They need to strike first, get the early advantage, get Florida on the ropes early.
13 plays, roughly 61 yards, 11 of those plays on the ground. It's a methodical drive. It's nearly a 5-minute drive. And it results in Arizona drawing first blood, 7-0 on the road here at the Eye.
Man, did they ever suck the life out of the Eye as well with that drive? Just kept pushing and pushing and pushing with those run plays, and then finally got to the end zone just before the first stanza ended.
And we will see a return to end the quarter as Tarantino out of a tackle, looking near side. Deep stiff arms to Fallon, looking further down the field, spins to the inside. That might have been his undoing. A brilliant return, nonetheless, to the 44.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. That was definitely his undoing, spinning inside. He had plenty of space still on the sidelines to run. We'll see the replay as it goes through. Great blocking by the special teams as well. Again, if he just would have cut inside, maybe it would have been a return touchdown, but it would have been further down the field.
That brings us to the end of the first quarter. Arizona 7, Florida 0. You're watching the SFL playoffs. Aerial coverage of today's playoff game is provided by Dags Drone Works, aerial photography and videography services for real estate, events, marketing, and more. Learn more at dagsdroneworks.com as it's an earlier look today over Hollywood Beach. Now, I could use a little beach. Right now it's getting kind of cold. You know where I'm from here, Brett. Probably even colder up where you're at.
Yeah, I was just going to say, don't even say a word about cold right now. You don't know the definition of it right now.
Hey, I'm Minnesotan. We're gonna get some negatives here soon. Just you wait. Flip out near side to begin the corner. It is Vandelay up the field, breaking away from defenders. Another spin move inside the 20-yard line. A lightning strike from the Storm offense to begin the quarter.
This is another thing that we've seen Florida do over the last half of the season is that not just hand the ball off to Vandelay on a run, they're going to use him on swing pass options, and you see that 1 shed tackle, 2 shed tackle, breakaway through a 3rd. He keeps on running, gets 1 more spin move past another defender, and puts them immediately in scoring position. 2 star-studded plays from Tarantino and Vandelay to get this Florida drive going.
They'll mark him just outside the 20-yard line as Cochran looks to throw again, looking into coverage, incomplete. Stephen Bush was his intended target.
Now, this is going to be interesting how Florida approaches this, because with their red zone offense, what we've seen a lot over the course of this season is that they end up kicking field goals more than they do touchdowns. So are they going to get themselves in the end zone here on this drive?
Ethan Snee, the kicker, with 25 made field goals, as Cochran will flip it out to Beletsky on the screen. Beletsky will find his way out of bounds, not before gaining a good chunk of yards, 9 all told, to the 11-yard line.
And again, another interesting scenario here. You're at around the 10-yard line. You could try to punch it in for the touchdown with a Cochran pass, or, go with your hopes and see if you can get yourself a run. It looks to be Komisak in the backfield.
Haynes hustles now out into the slot. He's pulling double duty tonight. He's in the stat truck for his 50th game this season, as Chris Komisak gets the call, gets a first down, and gives Ron Cochran more work to do here, or Ron Haynes more work to do in the stats truck.
And now you're in a goal line scenario very quickly, and almost, polar opposite of what Arizona did in their drive. They have quickly gone down the field and get themselves to the 4-yard line, as opposed to Arizona's 5-minute drive.
They don't want to be down here at home, where they have won every single game this season at home. As flip out near side, Beletsky diving, got it! Touchdown, Florida Storm! They answer quickly to the opening salvo of Arizona with a strike of their own.
And with the speed of that drive, you'd think that we're at a Category 5 storm here in Florida, but nonetheless, they get themselves a score super quickly, and it was all because of two starting great plays. First, the return from Tarantino to get themselves at midfield, then get Vandelay that 32-yard catch and run to get themselves in this scenario. They punch their ticket, tie the game.
Snap spot, extra point is up and good from Ethan Sneed. Just under 2 minutes taken off the clock for Florida to run down the field and come up with a touchdown of their own. We got a tie ball game. It's 7-7. We're off and running once again, as it's a deep kickoff taken out of the own end zone. Trying to make a little bit of a return is Hank Earl Troll to the outside, trying to find more space and more blockers, but he runs out of bounds at the 32-yard line. And while it was the running game for Arizona, Brett, that really got this offense going, it eventually led to a score. This Florida defense is one of the best when it comes to stopping the run. Top 5 in the league this season.
Yes, very true. Now, let's take that on the flip side here. Florida had a very, very quick drive, just a minute and 40 seconds to get themselves to the end zone. And now you have to look at this in the situation. Is that defense rested enough to be ready for another Arizona drive?
What adjustments have they made in just that short time as well? Jackson looking middle as they try and go away from the run, and this coverage from this Florida secondary is not giving Ashley Jackson any open lanes to throw to.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for Jackson, because you're talking about one of the most potent pass defenses in the league as well, and it's not as stated enough how great that defense, especially that secondary Florida, the secondary Florida has, and how they've been this season.
Blitz coming from off the edge. She quickly gets rid of it to the outside and trying to make a man miss is the fullback Bismarck Wright, a gain of 2. And that's third down upcoming.
Now this is an interesting third down scenario. It's not third and short this time for Arizona. Are they going to be forced into a passing third down? Right now we see 4 receivers out.
It's coming from off the edge. Jackson has to get rid of it. It is caught at midfield. Somehow sneaking it into his arms as TJ Punk to move the chains.
And I think that was an all slants route that we saw from the Arizona playbook. We definitely saw the 2 inside receivers slant in. It looked like the 2 outside receivers actually cut to the outside on post routes. So that's what gave the separation for the Arizona receivers to at least get an open look. And that was a tight fit ball into TJ Punk's hands.
Three straight passes to begin this drive. A far cry from the last drive where we saw 11 runs on 13 plays. Now to the ground game they go. Excellent blocking. And here comes DJ Moses for a gain of roughly 12 yards.
Yeah, and that was a little bit of bully ball coming from Moses as well, because it wasn't a clear path to get that first down. He got through that first level. He almost got tackled right away from Mississippi, who's been a menace so far in this game against this Arizona offense, but Moses still finds a way to get the first down.
And to your point on the excellent blocking, the offensive line and the wide receivers getting into the linebackers part of the defense to get some further blocking downfield to allow Moses to bring free. Unfortunately, they couldn't double up on their excellent blocking technique as they gained nothing here on the Jones run.
Yeah, it's almost where Jackson has to really focus in on where Mississippi is, which he's going to be on her left side, so you almost want to throw opposite to him.
Screen here for Moses. Minimal gain again. This time it's Ryan Tobin with the stop.
All right, we've seen them convert on 3rd and 8. Now here's another test, 3rd and 9. This is almost a guaranteed passing down situation. What can Eddie Gage and Ashley Jackson and company bring to the table?
Here we go. Here's a bunch set to the right-hand side. Jackson will try and roll, and she rolls right into a sack. Nothing that she could do about it. Dallas Knowles comes up with the takedown, and it's 4th down.
Did you see the entire defense from Florida shift over to the left and essentially just say, hey, we know you're rolling out on that play, even though that was the first rollout play of Arizona's game so far? Boom, Sack City, Dallas Knowles, get yourself a sack on the board.
And we talked about earlier, Brett, that these two coaching staffs, Eddie Gage and Mighty, are so fascinating to watch. An interesting study. When we say that football is like a chess match, these two coaching staffs are playing 4D chess. It is that fun and interesting to watch.
Man, I didn't think Eddie Gage could actually play chess, knowing how he could do things, but he plays chess so well in situations like this. But it's basically the best opponent that Eddie could have in the form of Mighty with this matchup here.
The even scoreline reflected by the stats as Vandalay gets the carry, runs up the sideline for about 8 yards.
And Vandalay is going to be a nightmare for this Arizona defense if he stays in that backfield and continues to get either toss plays or screen plays. He's got that ability to shed tackles and to force his way to get maximum yardage.
And so it'll be 2nd and short here for Florida as the Arizona defense shifts around, expecting a run, and they too try and run with Komisak as he will not get the first down. The stop by Ernest McRae Sr. denies the first down carry.
And remember, it's not the feet that has to, cross the barrier. It's got to be that football to cross the barrier. And it looked like Komisak was just short, but I bet you $50 they're going to do it one more time, right up the gut.
Heavy looking I formation again. They try and run left side with Komisak. This one, nice blocking.
Boy.
Komisak up the numbers on the left-hand side is dragged down from behind. A big gain for Florida.
And we've seen this a lot this season. It doesn't have to be just Komisak himself, but we're talking about explosive plays that really set up drives for Florida. We've seen Caleb Giffis, the wide receiver, a few weeks back get a big play to help things out for Florida. We've seen Boletsky do it multiple times this season. Now Komisak getting the love, and just like that, let's just instantly flip the field here on one play.
All the way up to the 35-yard line. Bullet now trying to rekindle some of that magic. And no dice that time. Rain Rie with the tackle.
Yeah, and this is what Arizona needs to really focus on. If they're not going to pass that ball all that much, they have to worry about who's in that backfield and try to stop him. It looks like Bullets again in the backfield.
Ron Haynes now in a slot receiver role. Blitz coming. Cochran backs up, unloads, and incomplete. Double coverage. Was looking for Caleb Giffis, could not find him in time.
Now here we go on the flip side of the situation. We're probably just outside of scoring range for Florida at the moment. Can they get themselves, that first down or even inch themselves forward so that Ethan Snead has an opportunity to kick maybe even a 45-yard field goal?
3rd and long. Bunch set left side. Cochran will also roll on this 3rd down pass. Middle caught. Stephen Bush inside the 20. That there is laundry on the field. It is going to be, oh, this is coming back here, Brett. It's an ineligible receiver downfield, and Florida will have to try that again.
Man, that's something you don't want to have, especially when you complete a pass like that on a rollout play. Now it just sets yourself up basically in the same situation, but now you're forced to throw the football on 3rd and 14.
Arizona now playing bump coverage, blitz coming, play action, Cochran, middle, it is tipped incomplete. Cochran's lucky he didn't have that one picked, and it's 4th down.
I think that's why Arizona decided to play bump coverage, because they knew they were going to have some guys deep, and they had guys like Albert Begin and Rain ready to go down that middle. Ron Cochran has loved to throw down the middle of the field here this season.
So the long drive stalls out for Florida, and Marcus Agrippa will punt this one away for Donnie Hands, who waits in his own end zone. And he will again elect not to return it. It takes a hop, and it will be out of bounds just before the 1-yard line. And hold on a minute, there is an injury on the field. That is Carl Powell, the defensive lineman, who is slow to get up. But instead, Arizona will start this next drive on the inch line.
It's inside the 1. We're talking about 0.5. And if you're a betting man, you're going to see 3 straight runs from this Arizona squad so they can prevent a safety here.
2 tight ends left. They're going to try and run up the middle. Good couple of yards. They'll say just 1 from Brad Jones. Jesus Smith with a stop.
It doesn't help with much relief. You're still inside the 2-yard line. So you got to find yourself a run play and get some good blocking. I would almost say a stretch run to the left might work here.
Tight ends, 2 wideouts run to the right, and it is Moses who gains yet another yard. That brings up 3rd and 8, and I still wouldn't trust a pass here in this situation.
No, because even if it was a 90 drop back, which for people who don't know is just a 1 to 2 step drop back, Jackson's still going to be the end zone. This might be another run play.
It is through the middle. Jones gets a little bit more breathing room for Darren Bennett, the punter, who now comes out here on 4th down. After the 2-minute warning, it is still a tie ball game, 7-7. Both of these heavyweights going toe-to-toe here tonight in the Season 23 SFL playoffs. Welcome back to the Eye here in Fort Lauderdale. We want to remind you that the SFL convention is headed to Baltimore for the 2025 convention, kicking off the league's 25th anniversary season, July 10th to the 14th. Join SFL Nation at the rooftop pool of our host hotel, the Hyatt Regency, looking out into Baltimore's Inner Harbor, and revel in the league's first convention on the East Coast. You can reserve your room now at the special group rate at simfl.net. And the stats tell the story. Both these 2 teams just going hammer and tongue, but not been able to have too much success against these 2 stout defenses.
Well, if you're a fan of the rushing game, this has definitely been one for you here. 87 for Arizona, 71 for Florida, and we should expect a little bit more running from Florida on this drive.
Cochran will look to throw instead. Open is Bush inside the 30. 1st down and plenty more.
And you know what could misdirect that Arizona defense is if Ron Cochran decides to throw the football this entire drive. And that's a good start for that Arizona drive, that 2-minute drill. Get themselves into scoring range. This is definitely where Ethan Snead can hit a field goal here. So even if they get 3 incomplete passes and not gain any traction from this, they're still in scoring range.
15 yards from Cochran to Bush. He looks to fire again. Open, wide open. Bobby Tarantino to near the 6.
And in the playoffs, that wide open is what you cannot afford to give any receivers there, because they're going to make you pay. It doesn't matter if your name is Steven Hacker from Fort Worth or if you're a young upstart wide receiver like Bobby Tarantino, who's only had 7 receptions coming into this game. They're still going to get you wide open.
Cochran caught Sean Moore cheating to the inside as he looks to dump it off quick here on 1st and goal, and nothing too much doing. Evian Case, and gains maybe a yard as Florida call their first timeout.
And they want to kind of utilize as much clock as possible and really get themselves an opportunity to get to the end zone, especially when they're that close inside. They want to get 6.
Don't remind Florida fans what happened in this same field position just a few weeks ago. It's a flip out to Ron Haynes, who qualms and quashes all the commentator curses, and Florida take the lead.
You know what's crazy? We talk about, so far this season about how old Ron Cochran is, but that is a spry old man. If he can shed off a sack like that and go immediately sling that rock to a sling and out route to Ron Haynes, get himself that walk-in for the touchdown. Florida has been sharp in this second quarter, and now it's gotten them the lead.
Had Cochran not been able to shed that tackle, we're talking a third down. Instead, it's a wide open Ron Haynes, a tight end touchdown. Hashtag throw it to the tight end. And Florida take a 14-7 lead with under a minute to go in the half.
Your move, Arizona.
It's been punch, counter punch all night long. Will we see any different? We'll have to wait for after this kickoff where Troll just steps out of the back of the end zone, and Arizona start with this next possession on their own 20-yard line. 56 seconds, all 3 timeouts here for the Scorpions. Still plenty of time to run a semblance of the offense you've been all game long. Bill Todd, the tight end, now flexed out into a slot roll on the right side. Pitch play, Bismarck right, stiff arm from the fullback, and he will sail out of bounds after picking up 11 yards. Fullbacks are having a ball here in the quarterfinals.
And that was a best case scenario on a run play when you're trying to use as little clock as possible. Great toss play. Good job with shifting Todd to the outside as well to help with that blocking, to give Wright the amount of space to get that first down, get out of bounds, stop the clock.
And it only takes 6 seconds off of the clock. 52 to go here in the second quarter. There's a run for Jones, 2 yards, nothing more, as Smith is there on the stop.
Yeah, and not looking like Arizona is going to use any of their timeouts yet. They're not in a position, I would say, down the field where they feel comfortable in really trying to sling that rock. And this is a heavy set. This could be another run here.
And motion off the line. Jackson will try and throw to the stop route. Nothing doing. Tried to connect with Yale Montana and couldn't.
And now this is a situation where I'd put the 4 receivers out and just see if you can get down the field here, because 23 seconds to go. You've got 3 timeouts. You want to find some type of response here if you're Arizona.
Bunch set near side, 3rd and 8, and Jackson rolling in, had to get rid of it quickly, and Florida has been guessing right on every single rollout, and we've only seen 2 of them, but they stopped Ashley Jackson again.
And you saw what happened if that rollout's being guessed right, is that Jackson was forced to throw the football early on her progression on the rollout, and the receivers weren't ready. Quick 3rd down stop. Florida has a chance to maybe get some damage if this punt goes away.
And Bennett punts this one away, and Tarantino gains yardage up to the 31-yard line. 12 seconds to go, 2 timeouts. See what Florida comes up with. I wouldn't be surprised if they just take this one into the half. Here, Brett, they do get the ball to start the second half.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised myself. Just run that football, let that clock go, and see if you can make some adjustments to even extend this lead if you can going into the second half.
There are 3 wide receivers out here in the formation. Instead, they do try and run with Beletsky, who gets bottled up in the backfield for a loss of 2 yards. And the clock will run all the way to 000 here in this first half of action. It's been a good half of football. 14-7. Scorpions down here on the road here, Brett. But we've got a lot of football left to play and still more stories to be written.
Yeah, still a lot of football left between these 2 teams, and really it just wasn't a second quarter to remember if you're an Arizona fan. Florida really bounced back from a very porous first quarter. 139 yards of offense in that second quarter really helped things. And Ron Cochran turned back the clock and, became his elite self once again. How about this for a stat line to finish the half? 7 of 12, 93 yards, 2 touchdowns to get to that, 2 second quarter touchdowns as well in response to that first throw that we saw on the drive, if you remember, Tyler, that caused an overthrow and interception. So Florida's done well to turn things around in the second quarter and grab the lead, but now it's Arizona's time to respond. Only 49 yards in the second quarter. Let's see if they can respond in kind.
And we'll take a break before the second half, presented by Brakes GPT. Don't go anywhere.
We just pulled a full-size Taylor Swift helmet. Shout out to all our Swifties. Travis Kelce. This is a Giants Lawrence Taylor.
Patrick Mahomes.
Chad Johnson with the Ocho Cinco.
We have a Drew Brees.
Is that an O.J. Simpson jersey?
It's an Aaron Rodgers.
Oh my goodness.
Tom Brady! Tom Brady!
Break into the world of sports memorabilia collecting with Brakes GPT, featuring signed football jerseys, helmets, photos, and more. Brakes GPT offers you the shot at winning autographed and authenticated sports memorabilia at a fraction of the price. Join the community of collectors on our Brakes GPT Facebook page and lock in your shot at hitting a humongous headliner on our site, brakesgpt.com. As here we go for 20 more minutes of football left to go in regulation. Pending overtime, 14-7 Florida at home. I'm Tyler Falk alongside Brett Solberg. Here in the broadcast booth, Justin Reside and Ron Haynes are in the stats truck, and our commissioner, Cameron Irvine, is in production. Thank you for joining us here late night on election night here this Tuesday evening. Glad to have your company. Hopefully you're enjoying the game just as much as all of us here in the booth are. 1st and 10 here for the Storm, as here goes Boletsky down the right side, looking for more space, and finally brought down near the 44-yard line.
And man, what a start to the second half for Florida. They continue to pick up right where they left off. Explosive plays here and there's an explosive play to start off their drive on this in the second half with the Bullet. Finally, I would almost say, kind of waking up here, because Bullet's kind of, been there. He's had some decent gainage, and now this is the long gain that we see from him.
21 yards from Charlie Bullet Boletsky, who during the season only had a long of 26. As they try and go with the backup now, Kaysen to the right-hand side gains 4 more.
Yeah, and what Florida can really do is that now they can kind of bring back the gear on their limousine a little bit. They can kind of sit back. They've got the lead at this point, and for teams like Florida, teams like Canton, they like to cruise their way on, and they can just shed the clock as much as possible, even from the third quarter.
Run here for Komisak, bullies through one, and then is finally taken down by Rie. Another first down for Florida, as this Florida offense is getting rolling here to begin the half.
3 runs from 3 different players on that set of downs alone to get the first down. Now in enemy territory, and Florida, it just seems like they're picking up right where they left off from that second quarter performance.
Coverage backs way off of the 2 wide receivers on the far side, possibly expecting a run. Is the Scorpion defense, as Haynes goes in motion to the near side. And Cochran looks to throw. Screen pass here for Vandelay, and Vandelay can only struggle forward for 2 yards. Good pursuit and coverage from the Scorpion defense.
And that's something you need to do when Vandelay's in the backfield. You need to basically have 2 Hawkeyes on Vandelay on either it's going to be a toss or a swing pass, and they're going to get you eventually. Good job to get 2 players on Vandelay to minimize that gain.
3 wide here for Cochran here on second down. Will roll toward the near side. Looks across his body. Caught! Caleb Giffus to near the 20-yard line. They are slicing and dicing through Arizona now.
Yeah, now this is the Florida football that the eye wanted to see from them. And that was, basically it looked to be a little bit of a pseudo zone from Florida. I thought McRae was going to stay with him, but he sticks in place, which leads to Giffords being wide open down the middle.
Split back formation here as the down marker flips back to 1. Run through the middle, Komisak. This time brought down by Albert begin on the first time of asking.
Man, and Arizona's defense is having a really tough time on this drive, trying to figure out who's going to have that football, whether it's going to be in the backfield or down the field in a forward pass.
Cochran changing up the play at the line now. Now running with Beletsky through the middle. He's greeted by Rain Rie and company. It'll be 3rd and 2.
Yeah, this is an interesting scenario for the Florida offense. 2 of 5 on 3rd down here in this first half. And now this is your opportunity to get yourself, even closer to scoring, getting a scoring opportunity.
Cochran will look to throw, looking underneath, caught. Ron Haynes on the drag route, and that's a textbook tight end route, ran to perfection. 1st and goal for Florida.
Man, that is definitely something that we haven't seen in this game from Cochran. Short throw, right down the middle in an in route for Haynes. We've seen the out route and a goal line play, but this one felt a little bit more different, and now you're changing the level of play for this Arizona defense to be prepared for.
O-line defense now shuffling a bit as Cochran again reading the defense, trying to decipher what they're trying to do. Komisak with the gift. He will go into the end zone untouched. Another score for Florida. It's a 21-point swing potentially now for the Storm.
And look at the wide open space the offensive line gave Komisak. It was great blocking, even from the receivers as well. You saw a nice block right at the end there from Stephen Bush to help out with Komisak as well. But that is classic Mighty RX football we just saw from that Florida drive.
And out comes Ethan Sneed to tack on his 3rd extra point of the game. It is up and good, 21-7 Arizona, 77 total yards on the drive. And Florida now have a 2-score lead. Following tonight's action, there will be 4 teams left standing for the 23rd edition of the SFL playoffs, and they continue Sunday with a pair of semifinal matchups at 6:30 and 9 p.m. Eastern, with the 4 best teams in the SFL has to offer this season. Catch all the action here on SFL YouTube all postseason long, capped off with a 23rd SFL championship game Sunday, November 17th. All right, Brett, Arizona has to change up something now. Have been shot in the mouth, kicked in the teeth. They've got to change up something here. They're down by 2 scores.
Yeah, they have to start relying on that pass, and they may have to start going deep down the field and start trusting in Jackson's 61.6 completion percentage and 84.7 QBR coming into this regular season.
Jackson has time. Looking middle, incomplete. Maybe just a bit too much touch on the ball, and it's 2nd down.
Yeah, I think the receiver overran the route, which might not have helped, and you can see that pass going behind the receiver. So maybe Jackson, despite having the time, was thinking that, maybe the receiver was a little bit behind, so threw behind.
Offset eye behind Jackson. They'll try and run here with Jones, the left-hand side. Gains a good chunk of yards, 6 all told. Now that brings up another 3rd down. And while Ashley Jackson, partner, has had, a little over 60% completion percentage in the regular season, she's only 5 of 12 here today, 41%. That needs to change as she goes into the gun here on 3rd and short.
Absolutely. This is one of the opportunities that AJ needs to bring in AJ striker mode.
Jackson, deep shot into coverage, easily picked off by Ryan Davidson. He just looked that one in like he was catching the morning newspaper.
Yeah, it's way too easy, almost a predictable pass too, because you can tell from Ashley's eyes that she wanted to go deep. She wanted to go for that money ball with Montana, and Davidson read her like the newspaper that he just picked up this morning. So Florida, like I said, fantastic pass defense, and there's your biggest example there.
First turnover of the game, and now Florida can really open this one wide open. A Boletsky run to begin the drive, gained 7 yards to midfield.
Yeah, and they're going to be happy with just running this football and, you know, basically saying to Arizona, guess which running back we'll have in the backfield to chew you up for yards here on this play.
The pick your poison kind of night. If you're the Scorpion defense, they've seemingly had no answer. Run, Comisac, case in point, first down.
And again, pick your poison. Guess who is going to be in that backfield? That's going to come right away. You almost kind of want to shift your defense to what the backfield on the offense is going to say, or maybe audible things up to see who's in there. Comisac in the backfield again.
Pitch play for Boletsky, breaks out of one, sneaks around to the outside and steps out of bounds after picking up 8 yards. It's the second and shorts which Florida find themselves in way too often. For everybody else's life, they enjoy this. Let's see them win football games because they can just run it again, and they have no trouble picking up first downs then.
It's what we've seen in that early stage of the season for Florida. 16-0, 34-14, 20-0, 23-10. First downs, they get big plays, and they get those defenses feeling, not so great.
A sack, 2 yards, first down for the Storm. And back to our point about first downs, they average a little over 16.5 per game during the regular season. That was above league average. That is top 10 in the SFL. And already tonight, they've done a pretty good job of getting first downs already with 12.
Yeah, and it's just going to keep skyrocketing if they keep the football.
And here's Vandalay on the give up the middle, gaining 4 more yards to Florida's tally.
Yeah, and right now it's been really, really tough. If you're an Arizona defense trying to guess what Florida's doing, they feel like it feels like it's almost a different play every time. It hasn't been the same play once or twice.
Only 6 yards for Arizona's offense as Comisac pushes forward. It'll be 3rd and inches. Here as they trot back to the line, seemingly in complete control of this one at the moment.
Yeah, and one of the things, this might be a scenario, we haven't seen Cochran run that football yet, and he's done it a couple times this season. This is perfect scenario, 3rd and inches.
Run, Comisac looking for more space as he gains the yardage needed and then some for another first down.
Yeah, and you can see it in the chat here. We've already seen someone say Florida will dissect you, and that is pretty much Mighty RX to a T. He's basically like that kid in science class dissecting a frog, is just giddy.
One of the geniuses of our league as Boletsky gets the call, and now this seemingly undaunted rushing attack may be starting to slow down just a bit.
Yeah, and you know what? It's a favorable thing for Florida because they're up 2 scores, shed that clock, and boom, just like that, they're gonna all of a sudden 6-7 play drives or 7-minute drives. Sorry.
Outside linebackers showing blitz. They back up into coverage, but it might have not been the right choice as Kaysen gains more yardage, bringing up yet another 3rd and short situation.
And then Florida's done really good in this 3rd quarter with 3rd downs. They've been perfect through this 3rd quarter, converting these. And, it's situations like this, short down situations. Looks like it is Comisac in the backfield.
10th play of the drive. First pass is a flip out to Comisac, who gets blown up just before he can cross the line to gain. J.R. Lawless there with the stop. And Florida will now have to be forced to go for a field goal.
It was a really good play call from Florida as well to go with the swing pass when they've ran the ball up the gut a lot, and now they go with the swing pass, but Lawless, great job on the pursuit.
And that 28-yarder is up and good from Ethan Sneed. It is now 24-7 with under a minute to go here in this 3rd quarter. Arizona down by 17 and need that little extra that they've held in reserve just for this moment to get them back in this one. As Hands out of a tackle. These returners, oh so close to breaking off a big one. And Hands gets all the way up to the 35.
Yeah, this is put up or shut up time if you're Arizona. You've kind of, you played around with your meal in the first quarter. Now the meal is bitten back to you on the second and third quarter. You need to start fighting back. And this is the drive that needs to happen because time's starting to run out.
As this offense comes back to the line, 2 wide receivers, 2 tight ends here for Ashley Jackson. We have an extra wrinkle, an extra bit of motivation to see them through to the semifinals. Handoff, middle, 3 yards for the tailback, DJ Moses, 2nd down and 7.
They can't get too friendly with this run game, especially when you're down by 17 at this point. You got to get yourself something to go.
Another run. Hands met immediately as he took the ball from Ashley Jackson. That'll lose Scorpions about 2 yards, and it brings up 3rd and long.
And now you got to force yourself in a scenario. Are they going to snap the ball first off? But secondly, you have to pass on this 3rd and 9.
Jackson will look to throw the final play of the 3rd quarter. It is bobbled, incomplete by Donnie Hands, and the Scorpions will end with 7 total offensive yards in the 3rd quarter for a masterful defensive show of support from the Florida Storm. It's 24-7. League rights coming your way.
Presentation of the Simulation Football League is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or account of the game without the express written consent of the league office is prohibited.
Welcome back to the Eye here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. It has been all storm for the better part of this football game, and they will get the ball back as Tarantino calls for the fair catch on his own 27-yard line. And that is where this offense, who has had multiple 5-minute-plus drives this season, and they've done it again here today with a couple earlier this season. Today, they've had 2 near 5-minute drives. The last 2 of their drives, 4 minutes, 9 seconds, and then 4 minutes, 57 seconds. They go with a run to start the drive with Bullet Boletsky through the middle, gaining 6 yards before he is gang tackled. And it brings up 2nd and 4.
Now, you brought up a good point with the last 2 scoring drives taking up so long in the clock. Now I pose you this question, Tyler. If they continue going with this way and they score one more time on this drive, is this night for Arizona?
I think unless Eddie Gage is throwing in the towel, I think Arizona still has something left to give. But they're going to have to give it soon because right now another 1st down for Florida sees their chances dwindle even further.
Yeah, and right now 1st downs are the name of the game for Florida. If they can just continue with this drive, they'll use as many plays as possible to get down the field, shed that clock, and see if they can get some points.
Pass middle, and they just open up a can. And Bush comes on with the reception for another nice gain for Florida. 1st down.
Now, it all depends if you want to say that can is a can of worms or a can of whoop you know what, because Florida has been clicking on all cylinders since the start of the 2nd quarter and has not put their foot off that gas pedal, and it just continues to work, whether it be through the run or through those slick passes from Rock Cochran.
Linebackers showing blitz, but it's Vandelay. Another nice gain, another good gain, another long gain for this rushing attack.
Man, it's dangerous when you have such a cavalcade of of players that you have in the backfield that you can just bring down the field. It could be Vandelay, it could be Komisak, it could be Boletsky, it could be Kason if you want him in there too.
They are a Swiss Army knife in the backfield. Komisak picks up 2 more yards, another first down, bringing them ever closer to 200 team rushing yards in this game.
Yeah, that's scary. You know, we praise teams just to get to 150 yards of rushing offense between their committee, but Florida, they're going to explode this if they keep going.
Pitch play, Beletsky is wrapped up by Moore after a gain of 3. And this offense getting ever so closer to even field goal range, and even field goals right now, if you're Arizona, you don't want to see any more points go on the board for the Storm.
No, even with this field goal, it's definitely within range for Snead to make this a 20-point game. You don't want to have that if you're Arizona. You got to find a way to get turnover.
I formation, run through the middle. And Komisak, another first down. He has been the money man, the bell cow on the 2nd and 3rd downs when there's in the tough situations, in the big-bodied, I need to bruise someone more than me. I need to get through a wall. You give it to that fullback, and he gets it done again. This time he takes a well-needed rest on the sideline as Cochran deep drop, flip out to Vandalay outside, breaking a tackle, running up the sideline, out of bounds near the 9-yard line, 1st and goal. Florida trying to put yet another nail in Arizona's coffin.
Man, you almost have to think that Florida's Bill of Rights includes the sentence in Art Vandalay, we trust. Because, man, you want to go with power football, you go with Komisak. You want to go with speed football, you go with Bullet Beletsky. You want to go with dynamic football, you get yourself Art Vandalay. He'll get you 10 to 15 yards.
Chris Komisak, who's currently sitting on the sideline after a very good performance. 94 career high in there as Bullet Beletsky nearly got all the way into the end zone, was dragged out by his horse collar, and it's 2nd and goal at the 1.
He's hearing you, Tyler, give all this praise to Chris Komisak, and he's telling him to you, hey, don't forget about me. I'm named the Bullet for a reason. As he tries to power through, almost gets to the end zone. He wants to match the touchdown total that Komisak has tonight. He wants one of his own. He's got a fine line that we see right there.
Wallace with the touchdown saving tackle for now, but it's 2nd and goal from just inside the 1. Handoff middle, Komisak, nothing doing. It's Lawless again on back-to-back touchdown saving tackles.
Stopped by the long arm of the loft this time, but now 3rd and goal inside the 1. Florida, can they punch it one more time to seal this deal and get themselves to the semifinals once again?
Run, Komisak, diving touchdown. Florida Storm. It is now 30-7, and one of their best performances all season. They look destined for the semifinals.
You know, and a lot of teams were starting to think that Florida was, starting to, limp their way into these playoffs with losses to Carolina and Canton weeks 8 and 9, and then Minnesota handing them a big 21-point loss in week 14. But Florida, this is classic Storm football that we're seeing here. 31-7 now, 31 unanswered, Tyler. This is a throttling from the Storm squad.
And another 4-minute plus drive, the 3rd in a row for this Storm offense. And there seems to be very little life left in this game. Where there's life, there's hope, but there's not much left of either. Here in the eye of the Storm, Hank Troll all the way up the 21-yard line. As we want to remind you again that the SFL M Season 9 continues next Friday, November 8th, with new commissioner Alexander West in studio, headlined by a rematch of the top 2 teams from last season, the Lexington Miners and the Nashville Tempo, at 6:45 p.m. Eastern. Plus, Bossier City and Pittsburgh, San Jose and Chicago, and Philadelphia, Albuquerque. See the stars of tomorrow, Friday, November 8th, on SFL YouTube. Our second injury of the game, unfortunately, and that's a big blow to the offense Will Todd is down.
And that's the guy that Eddie Gage, probably loves the most out of his receiving core and wants to give the most love to. And if he's down, that's just basically throwing salt to the wound that is this game so far for them. Someone's got to step up from that offensive side now.
That means Adam Grobrowski moves into the starting tight end role as they try and run again here to the Scorpions, and they gain a good amount of yards. It's another first down. That's progress.
Hey, that's progress. And, I would say Brad Jones and DJ Moses, they've kind of been that bright spot to this Arizona game tonight. They've done decent work. It's just the pass game has not been there for Arizona tonight.
A team that blew out Atlanta in the wild card round, staring themselves at probably the largest deficit out of every playoff team so far this season. Pass, middle, incomplete, looking for TJ Punk. Third down here for Arizona.
And that's got to be tough for Arizona because they pride themselves in being a squad that plays it tight, plays it close, no matter what the situation is. But it just didn't work out for them, and now they see themselves down 31-7. They got to fight for pride with this last 4:44.
Blitz coming. Jackson right side. Caught. Donnie Hands inside the 40-yard line and back to the line they come. They know they got to hustle.
And it's a good formation. They got 4 receivers to use.
The 38-yard line. Jackson middle. Caught. Punk inside the 20.
They just need to stick to this formation no matter what if they stay in the hurry up.
Jackson, another quick shot. Caught. Yayo Montana inside the 7, down to the 6.
Now they're inside the 10. They got to be careful with this formation now that the safeties can kind of bunch in the end zone.
Blitz coming. Jackson right side. It is incomplete. Knocked aside.
It was a decent look. It almost looked like a fade route that was going to head to the corner of the end zone, heading over to Hans's aforementioned Hands. But instead, it kind of falls incomplete, and now they got a 2nd and goal. They can reset things with 4:06.
That was the first catch for Yayo Montana tonight. That's how well they've kept them bottled up. 2nd and goal. Jackson now in the gun, looking middle. It is not out. Andrew Francis with the best defensive play we've seen all night.
Yeah, you have to think that was going to be a guaranteed catch if Francis didn't come in. Basically, lurking down that middle of the end zone. That was, again, you talk about those slant routes from the inside receivers. That was that play again, but this time it just didn't pan out because the safeties were too close to the end zone on that 2nd down. Now 3rd and goal.
4 wide. Same looking formation here for the Scorpions. Florida showing man coverage on defense. Jackson looking near side. Not enough. Looking for Troll. Led him too far. 4th and goal.
Now it's decision time. I still think you should go for it no matter what. You're inside 5 minutes. You've got nothing to lose in this situation, and you've got Florida pinned so far down the field too. You might as well just go for it, right?
I would want to. I would certainly want to. It would make a potential comeback that much more easier. But instead, they'll give it to the league leader in field goals this regular season, who slots home his 30th field goal throughout both the regular and postseason. Yeah, special teams. It is 31-10. They're still down by 21.
Yeah, it's guaranteed he's going to be in the All-Star game this season, but he's definitely not going to be happy with the performance here tonight with this Arizona squad. They're still going to go for the onside kick. Let's see if Arizona can get this football back.
Every journey begins with a single step, but it bobbles around, but it's easily corralled by Murphy for Florida. And they now can try and milk more of this clock and put this game well out of reach. And for everyone here on the East Coast, well and truly to bed. It's already past 11 here.
And Florida's probably already thinking to their sights. They're going to see Canton, I believe. So it's going to be basically the rest of this time they're going to be setting up on what they might play against Canton with.
I formation here for the Storm. They're going to try and run here with Comisac as he gets through a couple defenders, but not through Rie, gaining about 2 yards. Well, it will not be a victory here for Arizona. The Storm, at the moment, will go on the road to face Canton in Ohio for one of our 2 semifinal matchups. Meanwhile, it will be the Minnesota legend. Minnesota, how about that? They will get to play Mexico City on the other side of the semifinals to find out who will go to the SFL championship. That's the billing right now. Florida at Canton. At the moment, your early game, Minnesota at Mexico City, the late game. As things stand right now, there's still 3 minutes of football to play. Still anything can happen.
Hey, did you see that Cameron Irvine got the actual second game right? It's in Mexico City. If you saw the last game, he accidentally put Mexico City at Minnesota. I have to rib him on that, just to let him know, just to keep him on edge. Yeah, you did do it. There it is. But now you got to think if you're Florida, just keep running that clock and, get yourself to the locker room, celebrate, and get ready for Canton.
Oh, that's brilliant. Thank you, Cameron Irvine. As here we go with the run. Comisac, Lawless could not stop him in time. First down for Florida, and the clock continues to run.
Yeah, and that's just that's how it is. Florida has just done a masterful work with this. It's going to be challenged by
Eddie Gage wants to throw the hanky one last time. He wants one more here in the year 2024 and season 23 of the SFL, and so we will take a retroactive look at the play presented by Retroid. Get your SFL console at GoRetroid.com. Now, it's not been a good day play calling for Eddie Gage, but I think he may have a shot at this here, Brett.
Looking at it, you have to think where Comisac is, landing on his knee and where that ball's being placed. That's what they're seeing on the replay.
And indeed, they do say that the Scorpion challenge thrown out by Eddie Gage is good. And that'll be an A+ on the coaching scorecard, if I do say so myself, forcing a 4th and 1 out of the Florida Storm, which will result in an Ethan Sneed field goal attempt from 47 yards out.
It's going to be interesting. I don't think Sneed has kicked it from that far out. I'll just have to check real quick on the stat sheet. He actually did kick from 49 earlier this season. My bad.
Snap spot, kick is up, and the in-swinger is good from Ethan Sneed. It is now 34-10 as they look to put the finishing touches on this one. And Brett, it's been a fun season. It's been a good season. And it's going to be a fantastic final 3 games of season 23. And I'm looking forward to it. I've just been so grateful to have you alongside me in the booth for every so often this season. It's not been often we've gotten a chance to call games every week, or let alone just a playoff game. So thank you for being here for the ride. Thank you to Ron Haynes, who's, again, in his 50th game doing stats for the SFL this season. Give him a round of applause. Justin Resides also here. Thank you, Justin, for some excellent stat work here tonight. And, of course, to Cameron Irvine for putting together this excellent league, this community-driven league. And it's been a phenomenal game here tonight. Score being what it is, it's still been a great game to watch and to call. And we look forward to many more in the future. And thank you so much for joining us. 2 minutes left to go here in this one. 2 minutes left to go in Arizona season. 2 minutes before Florida gets to start packing their bags to Canton. Jackson will be under center here for this second down play. She's got 3 wide receivers, including Donnie Hands, who goes from outside receiver to inside slot receiver. Quick hitter over the middle. Caught for a short little gain, maybe a gain of about 8 or 9. That'll move the chains, and Eddie Gage will call his first timeout.
Yeah, and you have to think if you're Arizona, you're thinking to yourself, hey, we had ourselves a really, really good season. We just narrowly missed that first round bye, but you got to be hungry for more because you've been to the title game twice in the last 5 seasons. You want to get yourself that championship, that illustrious title that Eddie Gage wants for himself and for his squad. First down, second timeout called for Arizona. And you really have to think from Arizona's side, it's going to be back to reloading and going back for conquest. And, you know, it's going to be tough with that West Division again, probably going to change, you know, this upcoming season.
Montana gets the reception up to the 50-yard line, and there's still a lot of speculation to do. That's a good pass breakup again by this Florida defense. Ryan Davidson did have the one lone pick in the ball game, which really just... It was really assisted falling now at this point, a continuous downward spiral from Arizona after that. And they just could not get out of this hole. They could not match Florida until this very late stage of the game. Minute 48 to go as that pass is caught by Montana. He crosses the 40-yard line deeper into Storm territory. And that will be the third and final timeout taken by Arizona this season.
And now looking forward, Florida facing Canton at Canton. And you got to remember, Tyler, that's a rematch from the title game last season. And it's going to be the same scenario, too. It's going to be at Canton. So can Florida pull up the same magic that they did in the last season's championship game?
Jackson caught by Montana inside the 20-yard line, just barely. And that'll be a fun game to watch, and I'll be watching that one. We'll get to watch Minnesota, Mexico City, the resurgent Aztecs. Going to take on a spry Minnesota team. Either way, we're going to see a very different championship matchup that we've seen in seasons past. Pass near side, nearly caught for a touchdown by Hanker O'Troll, but cannot haul it in triple coverage. That'll bring up 3rd and 3.
Yeah, it's really setting up for a really good semifinals matchup. If you're a fan of Cinderella stories, this isn't going to be the season for you, as the top 4 seeds have all advanced up to this stage into the Final Four. But nonetheless, you still have fun teams to watch. Minnesota with that electric ground game. You've got Mexico City with all those names that you know and love from seasons past, present, and future on that team. You got Canton, who are always going to be that strong powerhouse no matter what in the situation. Now add Florida to the mix, who have, 2 times.
Pass picked off. Ryan Davidson doubles his tally tonight and finishes off Arizona one final time.
Yeah, and that's that. If that isn't a final nail in the coffin, that might be like an egregious extra nail thrown right down the middle of the coffin to say, you know what, we got to keep you locked inside that lid. And that I think that's going to do it here, Tyler.
If it wasn't the nail, it was the concrete being poured over the casket. Make sure they stay around and not no further. Bit too close for comfort here to the red zone, and so Florida will try and run this ball out just a little bit here with Chris Komisak. He bullies his way forward all the way up for plenty more yards. That should just about do it. One final play left to go here from the eye in Fort Lauderdale. Final home game for the Storm this season, and they will send the hometown fans home very happy. 34-10 should be your final score here from the eye as Ron Cochran lines up in victory formation, lets the clock go under 40 seconds, and his final snap will seal the win for the Florida Storm. 34-10, Brett. It was all Florida after Arizona came out with the opening score.
Yep, basically just turned it up to another level in the second quarter, and Arizona just did not respond at all. And you can see it in the point unofficially. 215 rushing yards from that Florida committee, led by Chris Komisak, as he has been the last 4 or 5 weeks. Fantastic work, masterful work from the play calling crew as well to make this a perfect Florida game.
The defensive game plan was on point. They stopped everything that Arizona tried to do. Arizona thought they could come in, run the ball down Florida's throat, and then when needed to, try and roll out and get the ball down the field. But Florida was having none of it. a masterful class from Mighty, Art, and the rest of the Storm crew sees the final score 34-10 for one final time here tonight. And for Ron Haynes, Justin Raside, Cameron Irvine, and Brett Solberg, we've had fun all season long with you. We hope you stick around for the semifinals later this weekend. And until then, good morning, good afternoon, and good night. Final super chats. I'm gonna cut in here, Brett. Arizona Scorpions, $10 super chat. Embarrassing. My apologies, Arizona. We'll be back. And I'll say this one for Eddie. Arizona, I love y'all.
Me too. Ba-doo.